Hi everyone, my name is Chef Alexis Bouillet and I am Chef Manuel Bouillet, and today we are going to introduce you our Manguet Exotique Bava. So if you're ready, let's get started. So now we are gonna go for step number 1 for the bava, which is of course the bava dough. So here we have placed into our mixing bowl our two types of flour, which is T55 and T65 flour. Also we have here on the side our butter. Also we want to remind you that all of our ingredients were placed before into the fridge just to have them nice and cold. The goal when you are mixing this kind of dough is going to be to make it as elastic as possible. So that's why the ingredients needs to be cold. The friction of the paddle attachment that we'll have right here in front of us then will create the elasticity, but also will generate some heat. So that's why it's important to start with cold ingredients. So we just added the salt, then we're going to follow with the gold dry yeast. Then to bring a little bit of sweetness and to interact with the yeast, we're going to have some honey on the side, and then we'll follow up over here with some whole eggs. The same, the whole eggs were placed in the refrigerator and they are nice and cold. Then we're gonna start to use the paddle attachment and mix together at a low speed. So to start our process, we're gonna use only half of the eggs. The second part of the eggs will be added later in order to have something elastic at first, and then adding little by little the remaining eggs. This dough is pretty soft, so this is why we're gonna do the process in 2 times. Just before we add the first part, I'm just gonna simply sand all together, just in order to have the butter slightly smaller and well incorporated inside the flour. So just for 1 minute we can sand the butter together, then we can start to add our first quantity of eggs. So then after sanding the flour with all the ingredients together, I'm gonna add the first quantity of eggs. And then we're gonna keep mixing in medium speed for about 15 minutes until we get something slightly elastic, and then we'll pour little by little the remaining eggs just to make the dough nice and soft. During the process, do not hesitate to scrape a little bit the side of the mixing bowl, just in order to have everything well combined together. Okay, so after mixing for 10 to 15 minutes, we can see that the dough starts to be quite elastic, so which is a good sign before to add our remaining eggs. Over here, when we're gonna add the remaining eggs, we want to add them progressively, maybe 3 to 4 additions regarding the amount that you have. Because if you add too much at once, then the dough won't absorb those liquids. So that's gonna be complicated. So then we just need to mix at slow speed right now, just in order to let the dough absorb little by little the eggs. Then after incorporating all the eggs, we have a nice and elastic dough. We can just scrape correctly on the side by just doing like this. Here we have a nice and elastic dough. We have a nice elasticity with all the eggs correctly incorporated together. Then on the side we have prepared a piping bag. We transfer this soft dough into the piping bag, and then we will place the dough approximately 15 grams for those small bava molds. Of course, previously we apply a little bit of oil spray into the mold in order to release the bava more easily after baking. As you can see, the bava has a nice structure, so it will be nice to pipe it. So just a little bit of dough into the piping bag, which is much more convenient to pipe the bava. So what you can do to pipe the bava is to use, I am a right-hander, so I have my right hand on the piping bag, and then my left hand will be here to pinch the baba as soon as the quantity will be enough in the mold. Then I will press to cut, and then our baba will be ready. So then on my side I'm gonna take the molds and to prepare just a towel or something just to bump nicely and to make it flat the surface of the baba. Also, you will make sure that at the bottom, then you are sure that there is no air bubble between the mold and the baba dough. Okay, so after finalizing this step by bumping the baba molds to make sure it's nice and flat and no air bubbles on the side, we are gonna lay it proof at 27 degrees for about 2 hours. So after 2 hours at 27 degrees, our baba are ready. We can see that the baba already proofed nicely and the volume is double. So it is now time to bake it. We are gonna bake it at 170 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes to let it dry and have a nice shell on the outside. So it is now time for step number 2, which is the exotic syrup. We already have unmolded and cooled down our baba, so now we are ready for the syrup. So I just place here my water and also sugar, and I will also place orange zest or mandarin zest and lime zest. On the side over here, we're gonna start to scale the mangue rum for later on. We don't want to add the mangue rum when it's too hot, so that's why I will scale it but reserve it on the side. So I'm gonna boil the syrup first, then stop it and add our mandarin puree and passion fruit puree. It will be nice and fresh, and also combining at the end with the rum mangue will be just a nice balance. Okay, so it is now boiling. I just stop the heating process of the syrup, then adding my passion fruit puree, and then following by the mandarin puree. And let's check the temperature. It is really important to add the rum around 40 degrees Celsius in order to make sure it doesn't evaporate. Okay, so the temperature now is under 40 degrees. We can add the rum mangue. Then on our side over here, we can see that our baba are baked, but they're also very dry. They will have the perfect texture to absorb our syrup. So over here, we're gonna start to soak them by the head, and then we'll soak over here the remaining part. So over here, we can see that our baba is nicely soaked. So what we want to do after is just to place it on the side to release the excess of juice, and then you can keep refrigerated until it's a bit. So actually there is one tip to get baba soaked correctly. The idea is just to dip first the head of the baba, because this is always the driest part, and the crust of the baba is always more on the top. So this is why we always used to soak first the head for about 1-2 minutes, and then the remaining of the head of the baba later. Okay, so it's now time for the step number 3, which is the passion fruit nappage. It will cover the whole baba after we soak it. So to do it, we are gonna place here our passion fruit puree and our passion fruit seeds. Then on the side, we'll have, of course, the sugar and then the NH pectin. NH pectin will help you to create this, to create some viscosity and then to make it set slightly. That will cover better the baba itself. So just gonna combine them together. And then the goal over here would be to add the sugar and the pectin into the purees before 40 degrees Celsius. It is really important. The pectin will need some time and a cool environment in order to start to absorb the humidity and react properly. I just pour little by little my mix of sugar and pectin and mix at the same time to make sure that there is no lumps inside. and then we just bring to a boil to activate correctly the NH. Also, the NH always reacts with the acidity, so for this time we use passion fruit puree, so we'll be fine. Okay, so now it's boiling. We just cool it down into a pitcher at 3 degrees Celsius, then we'll reheat it at around 40 degrees, ready to glaze. Alright, so now for the step 4 of this baba, then we're gonna start the chantilly. To start the chantilly, over here we have the base of cream number 1. We have an addition of vanilla bean paste, but you can also add some whole vanilla bean and then infuse it. And then we have a little bit of sugar and some gelatin mass. I'm gonna combine those 4 ingredients together and then reheat around 60 to 65 degrees Celsius. And on my side, I have the mascarpone cheese that I will put into a high container, and also cream 35% fat content, which is the part 2, and I will put into also over the mascarpone, and that part will remain cold. The goal over here is really to do not boil this preparation, because we have some gelatin, so you just want to melt the gelatin and then reach to approximately 60-65. That will be enough then to dissolve the sugar and gelatin mass, and then we'll simply pour over the core ingredients, the mascarpone and the cream number 2. It is really important to separate those two creams. The reason why is because the more you're heating a cream, the more you're affecting the quality of the cream. So that's why by having some cold ingredients over here and some hot one, then at the end the temperature will be lower and then easier also to refrigerate. We also recommend you to do this step 1 day earlier before to use it, in order to cool down nicely and to have a very nice texture before whipping it. So 1 day earlier. Okay, so we are now around 60-65 degrees, and then we're gonna simply pour over, and we're gonna use the hand blender in order to emulsionate everything together and make sure it's nice and smooth. So do not hesitate to scrap on the side, just to make sure the mascarpone cheese is correctly incorporated inside. It is now time to glaze our baba, so we put the baba on a wire rack just to remove part of the syrup. So it is now time to glaze with our passion fruit nappage. So we just reheat around 40 degrees, we have something nicely melted and slightly liquid, just to have a very thin layer to cover the baba. It will get shining, and also you will get a certain sourness, and it will be very fruity with the rum monk. Then we just glaze the baba directly from the fridge, and we have something super shining. So the baba has been glazed, so now it's time to place it in the center of our plates. So we want to gently remove the excess at the bottom to make it clean, and then gently drop in the center of the plate. So for this step, you can do it when it's time for the service. So that means the customer already requests the dessert. You can just glaze it in last minute to get something super shining, and then we can place it directly into the plate. So following this step, we are gonna whip the chantilly and also prepare the syrup ready for the service. So our vanilla chantilly is placed into our mixing bowl. We have a nice and frozen mixing bowl, and we are gonna just whip the chantilly, make it soft, and we'll place into this container ready for the service. So now our cream is correctly whipped. We want to get something nice and soft and slightly liquid, just a little bit, because it is much better to enjoy a nice baba with a soft whipping cream. So ready for the service. Then on the side, we'll keep the remaining syrup that we have been using to soak our baba. So then we place it in a small pitcher, very elegant for the service. So this is ready to send to the restaurant with the whipping cream and also the syrup on the side and our baba. So the rest of the service will be tableside. So this is the final step for the service of our baba. I'm just gonna take a knife and open it delicately in the middle. So the idea is just to cut it in two, open it nicely, and then we're gonna pour the nice exotic and remangue syrup, just to add some extra on the side and also over the baba. And we are gonna take our whipping cream, the vanilla whipping cream, and the waiters or the waitress will take 1 nice scoop of cream and just to place in the middle. So for us, this is the perfect combination. We have a nice soaked exotic baba, really refreshing, really fruity. Yeah, absolutely. It's something that you want to finish with. You know, it's very light in a way. We can feel like the refreshing flavor of the exotic, and then the side of the mangue rum that will bring definitely nice flavors. So now it is our best part, the tasting time. You can feel already that the baba is really moist. Yep, nicely soaked. And then yeah, everything together, the chantilly and also with the glaze and the baba itself. The baba itself is really cloudy, freshness and the sourness of the passion fruit, and also to enhance the flavor with the remangue. Yep. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you really enjoy it, the same as us. Thanks.